but happy to share my computer if you would like.
Oh, okay. I'll just go this time. Actually, that's why I think
Sure, yeah.
Okay, it's 7:07. I'm gonna go ahead and call order the meeting for the Arts and Cultural Board. At this time, we are going to approve the minutes. Do we have a copy of the minutes to approve? Okay, y'all, at some point, you're gonna pull up a copy of the minutes and we actually need to print it out because it has to be signed right now by the chair.
Okay.
We currently have a secretary.
Should we just put it?
You know, we can postpone it until next week.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and suggest that we postpone the approval of the minutes for the July meeting to next month, where we will actually be able to have copies and then we'll send it out to everybody. Actually, Anna will send it out to everybody so that you can look at it prior to the meeting being started, and we can go ahead and do what need be, and then go ahead and approve. So we will table the approval of the minutes from July to September meeting. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have citizen comments at this time. And at this time, we offer citizens who are joining us either online or in person to share their thoughts, ideas, etc. with us. You have about 3 minutes to speak. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, by all means, do so. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and close the citizens' comments portion of the meeting. And we're going to go to consider possible action items. The first one that we're going to look at, we have a copy of, is to review, discuss, and plan the 2023-24 budget as it was approved by City Council. As you remember, we worked on this budget in May because we had to have it turned. We actually started working on it in April, and you all were to submit items that went on the budget. We had it ready to send to the City Council at their budget meeting that they had the first week of May. City Council, some of the City Council members simply asked for some explanations on some of the things that we had submitted, and we provided that. But then one specifically they were asking about was in celebrating the culture of Texas. They wanted a few specifics, and we had noted that if you look on the second page, page 5, which we have sent out to you. We just added some of the information, things that we had already done on what's in the making for this year that we would be looking at this upcoming calendar. These were things that members had submitted, and so actually there's anything we welcome, but there wasn't anything new that we said we wanted to do for the part. I think that privately was something that was new. We did not talk about that previously before the submission was made, and so the commission member who submitted it at the time wanted to add that component. So you remember that we had a lump of money that we were going to utilize for, okay. We had a lump of money that went into celebrating the cultures of Texas. It was $7,900. But there were things that went off into that, because if you remember, we moved some money around and that kind of thing like that. Anything that had to do with art-based culture would fall into that particular category. This was just a kind of a long umbrella that we had. Something new might have popped up, as well as something we could have taken off. But they wanted a few suggestions, so that's basically what we did for them in the description where it says celebrating the culture of Texas. So anyway, that was the big thing. So from my understanding, there was a second budget meeting, and then this budget went to the second budget meeting. And then there was a third budget meeting, and then this went to the third budget meeting, but Amber took over at the second budget meeting and just presented this to city council. And, I think there was real minor discussion at the second and third meeting because we had pretty much talked about it at the first meeting. So it became a formality. And then this budget was approved at the August 1st, August 3rd city council meeting. And then so here we have before us the $65,000. And if you remember, we actually came in at 60. And we were asked to bump it up a little bit, 65. So 65 this last year, 65 this upcoming year. And so that was the only change that you didn't know about, was that instead of 60, they wanted 65 to keep it consistent. But you'll see pretty much everything on here that you asked for, the other commission members asked for. So that is where we are in regards to looking at how we're going to maneuver with some of these activities.
And if we needed to move money around within that, do we have to, we move it, or do we have to go to city council, hey, we're gonna move this?
No, just like we did this previous year when we moved stuff around, it's the same kind of thing. As long as we stay under the budget of what we said we were going, we moved something from February something to September something, and we're in that fiscal year, no, it's no problem. So, because we did that twice, if I'm not mistaken. Okay?
I have a question on the marketing of the different events, because we've got 16 events and 5 activities. So I think, it's definitely proven that the events are very successful and they're very well attended. And so, in my heart, I would love to be able to see more marketing, so that not only marketing to Kyle, but marketing to Driven Springs, to San Marcos, to where to get that voice heard of the events going on. Does that money, or what? Who's doing marketing? Is it coming out of the communications department? Do they take care of all of that? I realize if we make brochures to do something, that would probably come out of this, but like the actual marketing of it, creating a marketing plan, doing the social media of it, doing, I'm making this up, TV, radio, whatever it happens to be, to do more marketing. We've proven we can do events and do them well.
So I would say if it's not, some of these are part of already existing events.
Correct, there's a lot of advertising for the events.
Correct.
They're technically like their events, we just kind of join them a little bit.
So if the Arts and Cultural Board had standalone events that you wish to market, I would say that would need to come out of that particular event's budget line item.
Okay.
But if it's not a real big ask, I'm sure the communications department would be willing to help put out all that. And they would want to supplement. So if you decided you wanted to do something outside of the area, that would be more of your budget. And then if you wanted a comms team to come in and help, do the advertising around town, social media, that sort of thing, they could help.
Okay.
Like I said, the only thing for the most part is looking at this budget is just like, we haven't seen it for a while. Technically, by the time we did it, we put it together, we got it on paper, we looked at it one final time, we sent it in, and then technically it's been on their side since then. So, taking a look at all the different things that we proposed, and some of the descriptions that we came up with. The descriptions are basically things that you submitted to me and said, this activity, here's what I want to do for the most part. Some of them, like I said, we done a little general because we're going to work out the details along the way for the most part. So, but it was more or less this description sheet was based on what they asked for, they can get a little bit more extra funds, which I thought was interesting, because originally they just asked me for this. That's all they wanted, and that's what I submitted. And then they said, oh, no, we need more details. And I said, oh, okay. Well, we'll get that for you, because we actually had worksheets, if you remember, where we had written all and those kinds of things like that. The other thing I wanted to mention also was that when you take a look at ordinance 1178, which was our directive on things that we should have been doing, I went and took those 8 directives, and that's what you see on the right side where it says current roles and responsibilities of the Arts and Cultural Commission. That's what is in ordinance 1178. On the left side is current roles and responsibilities. On the right side, here's our proposed activities, and you can see where each of the activities, which basically is number 1 through 10, how they fit on these 8 to 9 roles and responsibilities. And there's overlap in all but one, for the most part. And so the idea was to be able to show that we have been doing what we have been asked. And if I don't know if you remember or not, but when we submitted our budget back in February 7th, if I'm not mistaken, I did the same thing for that. So did it again this year. We're gonna make a difference. But there you go. I did want to mention to you all, you know, as you're looking at this, we can bring this back to the next meeting. I did propose that we made 2 changes to the roles and responsibilities, so we can talk about in the next meeting. It wasn't anything major, but you know, it's something to put up on the table for the next meeting and put it up on the agenda. Just to make things easier.
Where did the original roles and responsibilities come from?
Ordinance 1178.
Well, it's not actually in the ordinance.
It is a 4-page document, and the 4th page was actually signed by the city secretary and the mayor. Now that I tried to find online, you have to actually call the city secretary again. But that signed document is the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I can send it.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, you can't find it online. I mean, yeah, the city secretary has it as part of all the other, city documents and everything. Okay, so questions?
Just re-looking at the budget, and we can, what do you think about putting it for next time?
Table the next
We'll
one?
table it, but not on the books, let me see. We can table it to next time, but I feel like we might need a little bit more for that summer art festival, because again, they wanted to put the chalk contest component into it. So, if it's okay.
I'm not gonna have time to go to theater for this coming up here. I had time this year, but I won't have time coming up. So if you want to take the money from the community theater and put that into your festival, that would be good.
Okay, and I'll bring the binder that kind of had the original quotes from Pat and the original quotes. I had almost everything ready to rock and roll, but we are not a big enough force with 4 people to run an entire festival the size that my brain thinks it should be. So I need to get with Parks and Rec and see how we can team up and maybe combine forces a little bit more with their planning, person who does all their events. But I want to do it now. So we can talk about end of next summer, because even with the pack, it was really hard to get the date set. It was supposed to be this Saturday, but yeah, pulled the plug on it because it just didn't quite go all the way
They didn't
through.
put something else. There's an event going.
I saw somebody had an event
Sure.
in their parking lot that looked good a couple weeks ago, so.
Okay, all right, so one proposed is to take out line item number 5.
Correct.
And put it into number 4.
I'm sorry?
And put it into number 4.
Yep, and move it up to number 4, which that way will be add a little bit more money. It'd be 13.5 at that point. Okay.
That's at least you have to be able to have the budget to do that. I don't know how we can do a budget to that.
Yeah, it was pretty,
Okay, which, all good, because that was your project, so perfect, right? Especially folks are saying, I'd rather have my project or someplace else, or I can't do it now, and kind of thing that works out just fine. There will be, okay, so that knocks us down to 9 events that we're going to try to do now. And,
Well, but, okay, but like the celebrating of culture, that's 6.
What?
The celebrating the cultures of Kyle, the 7900, that's actually 6 different events, correct?
True.
Okay, so then we actually have 16 events, not down to 15 events.
Okay.
Do we have a calendar for celebrating cultures of Kyle?
I put one
just
together, and
coming
I
up?
kind of got lost with when everything is. I was just trying to track it and look at just my workload and everything. Because I know we've got 4 things in May, 2 in June, 3 in September, October, November.
Could you share that with us via email? Sure. Okay, thank you.
Well, typically, that's one of the things we've been doing at this meeting, is to going through each of these things and try to decide what exactly they're going to be, because there's some ballpark times that were given for the most part, like the one of them says spring. We hadn't worked out that much details yet, although we had to have a budget, we had to have an idea, and we had to have it submitted. So these meetings are a time to be able to now, can we discuss what, this is the first item, is to sit and look at this and start trying to plan out what this is going to kind of look like, and we're not going to get this all done tonight, just so you know. But the big thing is that they have been major things, like we just did with number 4 and number 5. And so you also can look at this idea of between now and the next meeting is to kind of piecemeal what the calendar is going to look like. We said spring, or which day specifically in spring? We said fall or last of summer, what particular day? You remember it took us a few meetings to come up with that September date, right? When we were going to have the art. We couldn't do it in one meeting. It took 2-3 meetings. As a matter of fact, we finally got it nailed. We actually talked to them. We had down some dates and that kind of thing. So that's kind of where we are now, is to figure out, where some of these things are going to be for us.
Can we identify, because I honestly don't know on the events, like is it a Parks and Rec and we're partnering with them? Is it somebody else's and we're partnering, libraries and we're partnering with, who's got the lead on it?
Let's see. Well, actually, that really doesn't matter, because a lot of people have this on here.
No, I mean, is it a Park and Rec?
Oh, I'm going to tell you something now.
Oh, okay.
So, the art class educational program, the
Okay.
high school student, that was primarily us, parents, we know that.
Okay.
The art exhibition in public spaces, that was going to be working with, City Hall, the library, and the safety facility, that was actually putting art up on the walls.
So is that our lead
That-
that we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. Art around the city, those are 2 possible, momentous type, art pieces that go somewhere around the city, and we put $40,000 on that to work out the details. We still, the last thing we got to do that is we got a map of potential places where we could put something, and we kind of stopped at that point. So that's us too.
Okay.
The end of summer art festival was going to be at us. We had talked for a little bit about joining in with parks to do something like that. So Tara said she's going to have a conversation with them. So that could be a joint
We
project.
need more manpower.
Yeah.
It's just not enough before.
It's not.
We tried, I wanted it so bad.
Celebrating the cultures, we did that one with the library and parks.
Okay, all 6 of them?
No,
Is it May, June, October, and November,
Let's
all
see.
of those?
So the Asian American one was done with the library this last time. We like I said, we got to walk with this and see what the
Right.
things are. Cinco de Mayo, that one was us, and all we did was put up an exhibit, right? The Juneteenth celebration, that was with parks. The parade one, the Pride Day one was a completely new one, so no major details of that one that we worked out yet.
So are we the lead on it?
Well, we're the lead on it, and, well, I'm trying to say what you mean by that, because, let me go back to jump on one. Cinco de Mayo, we put artwork up at City Hall. We were partners with communications, because they help us get stuff up on the walls. So that was a 2.
Right, but we are responsible to initiate.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are the initiators, we're the lead on it. Okay.
Well, any of this stuff that we're doing with lead on, so let me go back to Asian American and Pacific Islander first. We provided the culinary arts system for that. So we would lead on that part, but the part where it's in the library was library.
Right, so when we look at on paper, there's in the city of Kyle, there's an Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Celebration event in May. And we are partnering with the library.
We did the event, we brought food, that's only what happened.
Okay, yeah, so it's really the library's event and we're partnering with them.
Correct.
And the other one's Park and Rec, we're gonna partner with them, and others, there are events that they're partnering with us.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that's what I need to know, just got to repeat, okay.
Celebrating Hispanic heritage, we actually think of that. And then the indigenous peoples one, it's kind of a to do something with it, because it falls in the fiscal year. So, that one, we didn't do anything with. We talked about it, but we never came to fruition. And where it occurred, we hadn't got to a point where to plan it out what it's going to look like. So that's pretty much it in regards to those that are listed right there.
Okay.
All but two, we have three of them we've done previously, the others have been talked about but not actually carried out. Okay.
Okay, so and then the Founder's Day, that's Park and Rec, right?
Right, that's Park and Rec, and we're not doing that one. We can move this $100 out of money. We can actually move this one. They have to have stuff already done, and we were in a flux. So
Can we put that in the art talks across the city? I thought that I was trying to take the lead on that. It would be nice to be able to have maybe some money in the budget to make some raffles or things for our class.
That would be awesome.
where do you want to put that?
In the art talks across the city?
Oh, okay, sure.
If that's okay, but I just thought it would be nice to have some giveaways and things like that.
Okay. All right,
Wait, okay, now, and then the student, who's on that?
what?
Student article?
That was a previous, so that was up to grabs. Or to be changed with the case.
They no longer exists. And they, okay, celebration, is that?
That was the up for grabs too, but thank you, we did that one last year.
Wait, up for grabs, for something for us to do, or for, okay.
The student oratorial contest is going to get them. And that was going to be for next Father's Day. As long as the plan had to be done before the fiscal year, but the event would have to be in the fiscal year. But there's no way to get all that done.
Yeah,
So it's technically next October, which starts next fiscal year, but all the legwork has to be done months prior to that. Yes.
gotcha.
So I suggest that if there's one on here that you're tied to, you've already said you're going to do, and you've got an idea, perhaps next meeting, bring back some details as to what that's going to look like, the art across the city, one, right? So is that
Across the city? I didn't think I was doing that. There's only two monument pieces. I didn't think that was all right.
No,
I was gonna do the art boxes. but
Art
that's
talk
totally
across the city.
Art talks, yeah, that's me.
That's
Okay.
you, yeah, so what's that gonna look like?
Okay.
It's what I'm saying, breaks it up back.
Breaks,
Yeah, okay, and then, so we know that one for sure, we already know that Tara got her running notebook ready for the art festival.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
The idea is to take a look and see what the others are going to entail. Oh, the other one we have is the education, the first one, that's yours too. Because you said you want to have a little something with all our teachers.
Just a little background, I teach at Simon Middle School and I've been a teacher in PACE in the art program for 7 years. So I know a lot of teachers at the elementary level, middle school and high school stuff. I love when our students can bring their artwork out in the community, especially more of our rural kids that they have never even been downtown Chicago before. So when their artwork was displayed for Black History Month, we had a reception and all their families got to come out and take pictures. We had 52 pieces out there. That was from Simon the first year because it was easy for me to manage all of this. But this year I'm going to be reaching out to other schools and seeing what we can come up and put together for State Hall displays.
So we typically get the communications team, Kara put us on that, and they have 1 or 2 members that actually come and help us get everything on the wall. It takes a couple of us to get everything on the line up in one room and they get everything on the walls. It takes about 2 hours or so. And so they are happy to, help us with that. And the person. So the art educational program will be teaming up with the communications. The art in public spaces, based on our discussion we had, we had only put things out over this past fiscal year at City Hall. We were going to add the library and the safety center to that. The library has purchased a partition that can go through the middle of the lobby, that we can put things on both sides to kind of have an exhibition type thing. And then, of course, the safety center is the new piece that we will be allowed to put art on the wall. They haven't designated yet, there's still lots of stuff got to go there. But there is a designated area, the waiting area, for instance, when people first come in, is where we want to participate on putting artwork in. What that artwork is going to look like, who it's going to be from, all of those things are over by that.
Can we put art in private places, businesses, and that kind of stuff?
If you vote on it, we're going to do, sure. Like it's like one of the board members has to have a conversation with a bank or something like that. You want to bring that forward to us to take partnership.
I'm thinking having a high school project with the hospitals and, because we've got the new hospital.
It's just legwork for us. So whoever is going to do that is the one that's in charge of mapping and framing and any need or talking with the schools. And so it's a pretty big project. I think that's something we could look into in the future, but I think just putting artwork in this is going to be a pretty big job for us.
With these 3, because we went from 1 to 3. So we just take baby steps.
Oh, yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's, so we're moving from 1 last year to 3 this year, and then we can add more to it. But I mean, yeah, because the other thing to think about is, I mean, not just look at what we did at City Hall with Attorney Boland's work. That was a artist who had all her things done, who just had to go and just get it up on the wall and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's possible to go someplace else and do that as we start thinking about what this should look like in, year 3.
Yeah.
Year 2. Okay. So anything else y'all see for right now? And just kind of sit back and kind of let this muddle a little bit, and you might have some great ideas or something that you want to bring back the next time that kind of expels this out a little bit. As I said, some of them were very, very vague. We said spring. That means what, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, begin of spring, the end of spring, do a spring break. What specifically does that mean? None of that we had got to that point because we didn't need to yet. We just basically came up with what the activity was and how much potentially it would cost. And you can see how we can kind of move our money the way we need to help make something bigger and better if necessary. And then, something we can say, oh, well, let's not do that, let's focus on this, that kind of thing like that. Yeah, and next year, the flow contest might be something that's open, but, they could wait for us. So we came up with another plan. Okay. So till the next meeting, bring back ideas, we'll put something on the agenda, relook at the, budget.
We have suggestions of where we think the remote might work. Do we need to go discuss that to see council minutes? No.
We have this, art around the city at $40,000 per cost on PMU. And so there's a possibility that we could come up, and I did ask about this, actually, a conversation with the mayor, and asked him about what that meant, and he said, well, you know, you guys are the Arts and Cultural Commission, so if you have designated a budget and you say, we found this spot, then let's go forward. The only thing we might really involve them on is if we can, we narrow it down to 2 or 3. We may take it to them and say, which one would you prefer? But the money has already been allocated.
I'm gonna make a suggestion next time.
Yeah.
More information.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure thing. Okay, so yeah, think about the art around the city. Amber, if you get a chance, would you make note to send everybody the map that Will sent us of the possible locations?
Yes, ma'am.
Because that's already been designated. I think what 8 sites is what they had on the map, and we can get that back again, so we can start kind of looking at those and, art, you know, again, art around the city was not designated. It was two things, up to 2 things. Let's say they're $20,000 a piece, right, 2 things. It might be one thing that's $40,000 when we come up with, who knows, right? So we can make that decision a little later on. Somebody may have a right idea. It also depends on the artist. If we do come up with 2 type art pieces and they're young, inspiring artists, they may do it for $20,000, where there are more. Somebody who has a lot more experience may want to hold 40 for their one pop, so it just depends when the time comes for that. Okay? Okey dokey. We are moving on to the next agenda piece. If nobody has this one. I'm on the phone.
Oh,
Can we go after grants to get some of the art?
Article 1178 says that we can pursue grants.
So you wanna look at Texas Commission on the Arts, things like that. You have a schedule and you can submit twice a year, depending on the budget, you need to be approved through them first before you can submit. Why did funding process?
Are those more like matching funds or it's just a straight?
So all grants, the majority of grants are gonna be matching funds, so you have to show a certain amount of money in your budget for something, and then they might match 30%, they might match 50%. There's no certain things that they will match, so like they won't cover food, right, or things like that, so you have to. I mean, you do a whole, you know.
Yeah, it totally is. Some of the grants, for instance, are not an actual grant, it's a grant for anybody in Central Texas, and they like to do structures. They don't mind doing art pieces in the matter of fact, they really do things that they do. We do something with a building that's got one of those for 2 years ago. So it just depends on what the grant is.
Actually, that's really great, she's done lots of grants, so she probably, if you want to write on, she did.
All right, so but the question that to answer, yes, for the artists, 1178 says we can pursue grants. We have the authority to do that. We don't have to go for a city council action, if we grant or submit the grant, we have the authority to do that. It's got to put in form, and Amber could do that by simply making note of them that we apply to such and such a grant and wait to hear back from them. That's all that. Or it was awarded. Yeah. Awesome. Yep. All right, we're gonna go ahead and look at action number 2. And consider, yes.
We need to wait till we have to form again.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, all right. Right, I'm so used to not doing this, but that's a little way of making what we work for a while. Okay. It's gonna read over number 2.
Where is number 2? 2, I don't know.
Item 2,
The RFP for corporate artists.
can consider and approve the issuance of a call for artists for public art to be located at/on the roundabout near the Cassetta Ranch neighborhood. And we are good.
Okay, she's back. All right, so we're gonna look at article number 2 and consider and approve the issuance of a call for artists for public art to be located at or on the roundabout near the Casella Ranch neighborhood. Casella Ranch neighborhood has a brand new roundabout. Basically, it's Button Creek. And as you head down Button Creek, you pass Lehman High School. And as you pass Lehman High School, there's a roundabout. There's 2 subdivisions that are over there. One is up already, the other one is in the making. There is a roundabout that's open and ready for something. And actually, if you go around the roundabout, about another half mile, it takes you to the reserve, which is a new area that Parks is doing that's going to focus on kind of like a hike trail, that kind of thing like that. Just to kind of figure where that is. It's populating very, very fast. And so, like I said, one subdivision is there, it's about halfway filled. The other one is up in Pop is about 3 times the size of the Sept. And then you go back a little further, there's the reserve subdivision, which is in the city limits, as a matter of fact. And it's another whole big subdivision. So there's lots of folks going to be popping up back there. I suspect they're going to have some real traffic issues pretty soon. And I already have. We don't build roads and houses. We build a whole bunch of houses. Never think about roads. This is what I'm experiencing too. So with that in mind, there is this piece right here, which is called Call for Artists RFP. You have a copy of it. I had a conversation with the mayor, and he asked that we consider submitting out an RFP. And I said, oh, so you want us to look at the $40,000? He said, no. I want you all to perhaps come up with an RFP to invite an artist to come and put a piece over at the roundabout. This would be, an RFP works a little bit differently, and Amber's going to give us a little background on that. But this doesn't have a price tag to it. This means that the artist will submit the price to go with the product. We won't tell them what it is, and they'll tell us. And then to the point where we put together an RFP, we actually go to city council and we request that this RFP goes out. This is a kind of a separate thing under our domain. They have a discussion and give us the go ahead. More than likely, they would want something along like what we're trying to do. That's the first paragraph, and then something about how it would work. That's the second paragraph, and then some kind of timeline. So this timeline was based on September the 5th. The request going to the city council. At the last minute, I was told it was being delayed, and I said, okay, that's fine. I'll give the time to take it back to the commission and talk about it. See if that's something we want to do. But again, this was a request from the mayor, and the idea was that we go forward and we ask city council, hey, we want to put a piece of art up. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but we do know where we want to put it. And we do know it needs to be a certain size going around about and that kind of thing like that. And then from there, we begin to have a call for artists. So, a couple of things we need to do. Like we need to know, would it be an okay area? We know that. Colleen did that for us on the roundabout. We also needed to know any guidelines in regards to textile. We were clear on that from the planning department at the city. They said, no, go ahead. They said, can it be big? And they said, well, no, there's really no definition on how tall it needs to be or anything like that. As long as it fits within that roundabout is what we were told when we initially did this. So initial questions we had Colleen call planning, and she shared that information with us at a previous meeting. And so then, where do we go from there? So with that in mind, you guys take a look at this. Is this something that we want to do, knowing that it was a request? I later talked with the mayor again. He said it's for us to decide if we want to do it, and he'll go one way or the other. This has not been submitted to city council yet, so that's a decision of us. If this is something that we want to do and submit.
Request for proposals.
So is that in addition to our budget?
This is
Yes.
some total different. Yeah, this is not our money here. This will be a totally different thing, which is why we would have to initiate by going to ask them first. we would like to propose a call, RFP for call for arts.
Is there an artist that's already in mind for this? Just whoever
They would submit, yeah.
And where, I feel like we need a little bit more of a presence on social media. I don't know if we need to pay, but where do people find this information besides just like on the general calendar? Like, where would they find it? Call the artists or?
That would
Where
definitely
do we
be
put that?
that would be a press release that comes out of the communication department,
Okay,
number one, and also probably it would be in the newspaper.
so they would
we-
help write that?
But we need to be able to, I
We
mean,
can.
artists don't have a newspaper for a call to art. I mean, you look at, there's a lot of different social media sites that are out there, that
Social
those
media
are
sites can
standard
sell
for
We
call to
can,
art.
we can get communications on board to share the call for artists and
And
y'all
once
are
we get
able
the
to
press
share it
release,
from there.
if any of us have a place where we wanted to send it, we would tell them how we could do it ourselves. And they would do the initial writing of the press
I
release.
get pushes on Facebook all the time from certain activities that are going on, seeing how events for Parks and Rec. So would it kind of pop up like that? Like if you
Yes.
follow Kyle on social media, you can push it out.
If the
to
city is posting it,
Would
yeah.
our only job in this be to review the submitted call artists and then submit them to council? Is that be our only job in this?
We would submit this first part to them first to get their approval.
You mean this, by first part, you mean the
This-
questionnaire?
This piece right here that says we would like to have a,
Wait,
an
there's something in the
RFP.
council, even though the mayor already said he wants it done?
It needs official council action, so you would submit it to council
Okay, so the mayor told
requesting.
you he wants it done, and now the commission or the board has to decide whether or not we want to do it?
Yep.
Okay.
And then from
And
there,
it doesn't seem like it's pretty, I mean, if the mayor already says he wants it done, it looks like it's like not in my best interest not to do it. Right?
he came back and told us it's a decision we can make. So he'll go either way.
I think the benefit of being able to do an RFP is it doesn't tap into the 65,000.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's, I think for me, that's the biggest plus of it.
And
And
we're
our
not-
responsibilities, we've got to be able to create.
I just want to know what our responsibilities actually are and.
Is part of that too, so create the criteria, we get it approved, we put it out there, and then we start vetting the artists,
Yes.
kind of making those artistic
Yes,
decisions.
but then we would then have to go back with them with our
Top
top
three
three.
or something like that.
And let them vote on
Choose.
that, and then once that has been approved, yes, go with this one, we then kind of oversee that going on, you know,
Okay.
so, and
I
of
just
course,
wanted
you
to make
know,
sure that we were clear on what our responsibilities in the process.
so, anyway, this is what he asked me for, what it was, how we would kind of do it, and then a particular time.
Wait, I have one more question, I'm so sorry.
Go right ahead.
So then, if, once we approve the artist, and they like are like, okay, it's gonna be $35,000 or whatever, is the artist in charge then of getting their own materials and all that machinery and everything? And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
all
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
Right.
for only
Okay.
things, these are the people we think should have, and then we step back away
Okay,
from it.
very
Yeah,
good, just,
But he knows, or she knows that the $35,000 includes everything.
everything, okay,
So
all the insurance,
Yes.
gotcha,
Travel.
all the time,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, the only thing that we would probably have to look at again is that with installation is scheduling our facilities people to help with the
To match
installation.
it into our.
Yes.
plan.
Right, because they're gonna have to coordinate with Parks and Rec staff or whoever's responsible.
Yeah.
Before that,
That's
so,
not our work.
Okay,
yeah.
no worries.
I think my only concern is, I think we need to be able to give some guidance, to like monument side, I mean, good God, that could be massive.
We would give them the blueprint of the area and then they would figure that out.
Yeah. I think the huge concern that I have is moving parts in the wind.
It's just a suggestion, I don't think
Yeah,
it's,
I mean, moving parts didn't work so well for the past time, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't look.
But-
very well.
by those, the
Those
cowboy,
logos.
yes, that
Yeah,
thing is
that's
awesome,
perfect.
that is
Yeah.
always.
So I think there's just a variety of different suggestions and possibilities to not limit an artist to think like, oh, well, I can't do it.
Because it's
this.
moving.
The
Yeah,
power
no.
side was mechanical,
Yes.
and it ran by power. Those poles, that one runs by wind, so
Yes.
that's very, very different. And anyway, then one of the things I would suggest is that we want this thing to be as least amount as maintenance as possible.
Yeah.
We don't want our
Those are
facilities
things
to
that
be,
we will
right,
talk about when we.
The other thing we need
Right.
to keep in consideration
Yeah.
is the safety of the piece. I know that with that Kyle sign that's in that roundabout, people park their cars and try to ride on it. They try to take their pictures on it, it got damaged and now those are no safe right anymore. So, I mean, we also kind of have to think of, I don't know why you don't think of that in a roundabout, but we just do.
The motion thing is the thing that I would like to be able to say that no kinetic. And the reason for me, that is a safety thing. In my years working with the Kansas Department of Transportation, you do not have things that visually distract you.
That
When
is
you are on the
one
road.
point too.
And when you are on that thing, you are being distracted.
Well, I think you could just leave the RFP as open as possible,
Yeah, and
cast
then
the
we
widest net possible,
Yeah,
and then you
I
can
agree.
decide what
you ask all those
fits your
questions, when
vision.
the time comes.
Well, but if I'm an artist, because to me, it's a safety thing. It is definitely a safety thing when you're talking about putting it on a roundabout.
So is this something that we should discuss when we start to create the criteria?
Yeah. Can we
I'm not
not?
saying, well, I'm just saying that like, maybe these are good ideas.
Yeah, what I'm
that
saying
we
is
can
we have
talk about.
something that definitely don't want it to have, it needs to be in that criteria, so we don't have artists out there that are creating this stuff and applying when that is something that.
Can we all agree to make a physical drive around this area to kind of check it out and then? So.
I was on there many times, I don't know if I remember.
I'm trying to send
Relatively.
my whole life.
Okay, so, again, we will continue with this discussion on this one. The big thing though was that I wanted to be clear that everybody understood that going forth with this RFP does not interfere with $65,000, so it's a whole separate thing. And the process is a little bit different because we would initially start off by telling city council what we wanted to do. And then from there, get their approval, and then going through the steps, and we come back to them, we would have models for them. Because one of the things we could require is that the artist provide us with a miniature so they could actually see what it looks like for us to make a decision when we narrow down to number 2 or 3 and that sort of thing like that. You know, we get 15 different things that come in price range that run from $5,000 to $50,000, but we need to have something tangible to be able to take a look at. So the idea is to have this up and moving by June, end of June of 24. And I was very, very lenient with that because it could be that we asked for in May or something like that. But you'll get a better feel from that once we talk to people and figure out what they want to do. Okay? All right. So we're moving on down the road. Number 3 on our agenda is we have an update on the quilts. They are up, they are beautiful, and people are showing up in droves to see them. When you go into City Hall, they're on the 1st and 2nd floor. Not only do we have signs that say, please do not touch them, I know that don't mean other people, but we also have big signs that says sponsored by our local Arts and Cultural Commission. So it'll be up until the 28th of September. Then they'll be taking down the quilts because they'll be getting ready for their quilt show 2 weeks from there. So very interested in getting all those quilts up for those ladies.
It's very colorful, it's,
Yeah, it is.
we're enjoying it.
From 8 to 5, please go and take a look at it. It's going into nature. We got when you think about Anna's artwork, we had a similar to that, but we've got big pieces of quilts that are almost touching the floor. I said, don't put those up because people won't touch it. Okay, but that's all right. Anyway, so I just wanted to give y'all an update on that one. And then, of course, the other update we had is that everybody got paid. This was our first batch, and I just actually sent Xander an email saying we just found a typo. So hopefully we can catch it before the next batch comes up. I know they're at the printer right now. And I'm sure there was somebody, somebody was typing that up, and they just missed that zero in there, because it should say 1901. But we've ordered 2,000 of these, as we had talked about in the previous meeting, for the most part, so the rest will be coming in. He gave me 250 of them, but we were at the Parks event this weekend, and they were gone. People were just coming up and taking them.
Yeah.
And just coming, coming, and I was like, okay, I don't have any more. I don't have any more, so
Good problem.
actually there were, we put some on the mayor's table to pass out. And I went back over and said, can I have a couple of them? He's like, no, because I'm passing them out. I was like, okay, fine. So anyway, so people like them and whatnot, and unfortunately, we didn't have enough to give to the depot yet. So they're yeah, so it actually worked out. They kind of worked out, so yeah. So anyway, so that's what we're on. So this project is done. And as of the end of the month, the pool project will be done, and that will be the majority of projects that we set out to do for this year. We've done. So a couple of them took off the docket, but there we go. Other questions, etc. I'm going to go to announcements of number 4. Okay.
Yes.
All right, announcements. We have, it's almost 35 minutes, right? 7, okay. October 19th is the next meeting. Right now, there are only 4 of us. 4 of us needs to be present for a quorum. Meetings at 7 o'clock, and the meeting next time is going to be here.
Yes.
Hopefully at City Hall.
It's going to be at City Hall.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was like, where are we going?
No, the system
That
changed.
was ours.
So we're not at the library, we're at the city hall next time.
Yes.
That's the plan. That's the plan. This
That's the
time.
plan.
The system changed it because I guess it was like, it had been doing it for such a long time, so, okay.
And I will be out of state at that time.
Can she zoom in?
Well, we do have some applicants.
Yeah, if we have another
And
member.
so we could we need to interview the applicants and then take it to city council. We could possibly have new board members by the next time we don't meet.
They
Which
have
would
to
be
go to
great.
council by October
Yeah.
17th.
We'd have to.
Yeah, that would be great. That
2 days
could push
before.
forward.
Alright. City council meeting is October the 2nd, that will be the next, I'm sorry, no, there's one. Are we done with it? That's the next one, right, is in October?
October 2nd.
Because the other one we had already, we had 2 seats. That's
Yes.
right. Yeah, all right, so the next city council meeting is on 7 o'clock on October the 2nd. And other than that, ladies, that's all we have. I'll go ahead and make somebody's motion to join the meeting.
Okay, well, before we do that, I do need to let you guys know of an ADA issue with me. Okay, I have a severe hearing loss. Actually, even before first grade, I had surgeries. I've actually had 9 surgeries on the ears. So I have very permanent loss. And you guys will be impacted in a couple of different ways. So without me realizing it, sometimes in echoey places and stuff, my voice actually gets a lot louder, but I don't realize it. So I'm asking for your help that we can, like, we're over here, right next door to me. Yeah, this is a signal, it just tells me you can be as calm or camouflage as I want, but that helps me to know, okay, I'm registering. The other thing is, my right ear is my stronger ear, even though I have damage in both. So if you're talking to me, I may do this. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not being rude. I am trying to concentrate on what you're saying. And sometimes, because I learned to read lips when I was young, I no longer read lips, but for whatever my habit is, instead of looking at you in the eyes, sometimes I look at your mouth. So, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just that all of a sudden you may hear me go, I'm not ignoring you. So I may ask you, what did you say? I'm sorry. Can you say that again? True. If you have a high pitched voice, I hear that better. If you have a lower voice, I'm gonna ask you more.
All right.
Well, thanks
Just
for
so you
letting us
know.
know. We appreciate that. It's good knowledge to have a learning today.
We can go ahead and give approval, get somebody a motion to join me. All right. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right.
Just to move across for you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm standing already.
Nice to meet everybody. You are nice. Yeah. My back, my gosh. Very nice to meet you. Hi, Tara. Nice to meet you. Good application.